Toilets in Space Station 14 are a very strange item, and yes, this is a toilet video. Toilets can be made for 5 steel, that's it. And you can usually find toilets in bathrooms, random rooms in maintenance. Sometimes they're just mapped in goofy areas, but they're pretty common and anyone can make them for just some steel. Also, deconstructing them means you just unwrench it and use a welding torch and you'll get 5 steel back. This is going to create interesting problems in a moment. Toilets, when spawned, have a chance of being clogged, and you can use a plunger on it to unclog it. The item loopholes are really interesting. Most of the time, it is garbage. Sometimes, it's a toy. So if you were to make a bunch of toilets and try to unplug all of them like so, you can start spawning in some items. As you can see, I got some toys here. Since deconstructing them will equal the same amount of steel as it takes to build them, you could technically generate infinite items doing this. And some of the items that come out of the toilet are from the maintenance loot pool. So you can get tools and stuff out of here and radios. It's really bizarre. Obviously, toilets that you build fresh shouldn't do this. So I wouldn't go on a server and do this. It's clearly not intended to be able to generate infinite items. But you have to admit, it's a pretty funny bug that building a toilet makes items infinitely. And figurines are worth money and are used for bounties, so technically, you could break the economy by making a bunch of toilets. Onto the normal function of toilets, they act as a reagent flush, and interestingly, toilets actually generate infinite water up until 250 or 500 units. They generate 1 unit of water like every half a second or every second, so this is actually a decent way to get water, especially if you're a janitor. For example, I could walk up to this and take out 100 units of water. And if I'm trying to empty my bucket out, you can actually take the bucket in your hand, right-click the toilet, and you can click empty bucket and dump 100 units of liquid back into the toilet. If you do 100 units at once, it will clog it, so you will have to use a plunger normally to fix that. However, if you just do a little bit of liquid, like there's 50 units, it will drain the reagents automatically. So you can use this to clean up a room. It doesn't drain all that fast, but if you have a plunger, you can do this pretty manually. So if you don't want to go all the way back to the janitor office or something, or you're just, I don't know, like a bartender with a wet rag that cleaned up a little bit of a spill, you could potentially use a toilet or even a sink to dump out the reagents, but this is about toilets. One other really interesting thing about toilets is they act as a secret stash for any item that is small. If you shift click it, you'll see that their toilet cistern is closed. You can open this with a crowbar, and any object that is small can be fit in there. So for example, a lot of permas have a toilet in it. You could preemptively break into one, stick an authentication disruptor or something in the back of the toilet cistern, and now you'll have a way to break out later. I've seen people hide like guns, small guns in toilets. I've seen people put a bomb in a toilet like this in the cistern. I've seen people hide tools. Things they needed before, there was just the EMAG. Now it's probably going to change a little bit. It's really interesting amount of things you could put in here. You could even put like a stolen ID or something. That's probably one of the more powerful things to hide around the station. If you ever wanted to take the item out, you actually just left click it. But yeah, you could stuff a PDA in there. So you could hide a Captain PDA, you could hide the nuke disc even, that could confuse people, but pinpointers find stuff like that. Just something worth considering. Also, you could put the item in there, re-crowbar it back down, and somebody would have to crowbar it back out. There is no indication there's anything in there, and somebody would have to be intentionally searching cisterns looking for your items. Finally, one of the strangest things about this toilets is that they can connect to a disposal system. So I just set up a trunk and a pipe. So any object that can actually fit in the toilet. So like you can actually flush a medium item. I don't know if you can flush larger now. What about a ginormous item? Oh, you actually can stick a ginormous item in there. So I just learned something right now. So you can stick items in the toilet, and as long as it's considered an item component, it can go in there. Like, no, I can't drag this whole box in there or something and try to flush that in. Can't do that. Try out the water tank. No, like you can't put giant objects in it. You also can't flush yourself. But if you right click it and it has power, which I think this one doesn't, of course it doesn't. Hold on, dev map issues. There's no power in certain spots, so I have to do this manually. You can see it will eject items out of it at a pretty fast pace. You can also toggle the power off and put a ton of items in the toilet at once. And once you turn the power back on, it will flush. And you could make a very makeshift nefarious cannon of sorts. And if you're feeling just extra nefarious, you could turn it into a literal Gib cannon. Usually, you would not be able to flush a person down a toilet. However, the pet carrier is a thing, and you can actually put the pet carrier in a toilet, and you can use that to flush somebody down a toilet. So that technically means if you have a pet carrier and a friend, you can use a toilet to break into anywhere using a disposal network. Of course, you could just use a disposal bin, but the toilet's kind of funnier. And one fun last thing worth mentioning is rat kings can actually scavenge through toilets just like with a disposal bin. So you can potentially find giant cheeses inside toilets. So finding a bathroom as a rat king might be a decent last-ditch resort, or finding wherever toilets may be. Yeah, it's just an interesting weird item short video, but funny bugs, weird potentials, and great hiding. It's a very multifaceted item for whatever reason. The toilet's a very advanced item, has the most interactions out of like any item in the game. It's also the golden toilet, which is a thief objective, but that's actual gameplay. Anyways, yeah, thank you for watching.